Hello friends. So today we will be studying about a very interesting topic in SQL, and that is subqueries. So what is a subquery? How to use it in a query? And after using it, what are the consequences or the results of the query or the output of the query? And also we will be studying about the different types of subqueries and their implications. So, without much delay, please do like, share, subscribe my channel and comment that how have you liked the vlog, and if you have any kind of doubts, please do mention it in the comment section. I will definitely try to reply and clear your doubts. So let's get started. Today we will be starting about subqueries. But before starting the query about how to write a subquery, we have to know that what exactly is a subquery. A subquery is nothing but it is a very simple select statement that is embedded in a clause of another select statement. That is a select statement which is under another select statement. So let us see an example. Select last name from employees where salary is greater than select salary from employees where last name is equals to able, right? So make the indentations correct so that the readability of the SQL query is perfect. Now if we run the query, okay, we are getting some list of records, a total of 10 records. Okay, so this is one select query, this is another select query. So which means this select query is embedded under this select query. That's why the entire query is known as a subquery. Now in subquery, what happens? What is the working principle of the subquery? This is the inner query, okay, and this one is the outer query. So the inner query gets executed first, and based on the value which is returned from the inner query, the outer query is executed, which means the outer query is executed after receiving the value from the inner query. So what the inner query is retrieving? So if we get the inner query, then we are getting a salary of 11,000. That means the inner query is giving or returning the value 11,000 as a result. Okay. Now when the outer query is executing, it is executing like this, because the inner query has given the value of 11,000 based on the query, that is it is returning the salary from the employees table whose last name is able. Okay, so how the outer query is getting executed? Like this, where salary greater than 11,000. See, here also you are going to get 10 records, and in the subquery also you are going to get the same 10 records. So which means the inner query is giving the output as 11,000 in this case, and taking this value, that is the value of 11,000, the outer query gets executed where the salary from the employee table is greater than 11,000. So which means only those employees are being displayed whose salary is greater than 11,000. Okay, now let us see another example of a subquery. Okay, say there are two types of subqueries. One is single row subquery, okay, and another one is multiple row subqueries. So these are the two types of subqueries. So we will see one by one. Now first we will see the single row subquery. Okay, select last name job ID from employees where job ID is equal to select job ID from employees where employee ID is equals to 141. So now what will happen? It will give you the list of the employees whose job ID is equivalent to the job ID which is returned from the employees table whose employee ID is 141. So let us see which job ID is being returned from the inner query. So from the inner query, we are getting the job ID as ST clerk. So from the outer query gets executed like this, that select last name job ID from employees where job ID is equals to ST clerk, because ST clerk is the value which is being returned from the inner query. Okay. Now, so this is retrieving 20 records and the subquery is also retrieving 20 records, the same records. Now, why this is called a single row subquery? Because the inner query is returning only one value. So where you are pretty sure that your inner query is going to return only one single value, you can use the equal to operator and that entire subquery will be known as a single row subquery. Now, let us come to another single row subquery, but with more than one condition. Here we have only one condition, but now I will show you that there will be a subquery with more than one condition. That is single row subquery. Select last name, then comes his job ID, comma, salary, okay, from employees where job ID is equals to select job ID from employees where employee ID is equals to 141. This is one condition. Another condition we will give, and salary is greater than select salary from employees where employee ID is equals to 143. Now we get a list of 11 records, right? So how this query is being interpreted? This is one inner query, this is another inner query. So what will happen? As per the rule of the subquery, the inner query gets executed first. So if we execute this query, what job ID we get? We get a job ID of ST clerk, correct? And if we execute this query, what is the salary that we get against 143? That is 2600. So this query is returning 2600 and this query is returning ST clerk. Now how the outer query gets interpreted? After receiving 2600 value and ST clerk value from both the subqueries, the outer query interprets like this, where job ID equals to, that is from this query the job ID is ST clerk, okay, and the salary is greater than 2600, because from the second inner query the value which is being returned is 2600, right? So now it also gives 11 records and this subquery also gives you 11 records, the same 11 records. So this is how we can use multiple conditions in a subquery, okay, which means multiple inner queries we can use, and there is no restrictions on the usage that you can use only two conditions or three conditions or two subqueries or three subqueries, nothing like that, okay? So there is no restriction on that. Now let us use a subquery where we will be using group functions, okay? So let us see. Select last name comma job ID, comma salary, okay, from employees, where salary is equals to select mean salary from employees. Okay. If you execute this query, you are getting only one record. Now what happens? This is a group function, okay, as we have already seen in my previous vlog. And if we execute this inner query, what is the value returned? The value returned is 2100. So how the outer query gets interpreted? The outer query gets interpreted by taking the value returned from the inner query as 2100, and it gives the same result as the subquery is giving. So this is how we can also use the group functions in a subquery. Correct? Now we can also use having clause with subqueries, right? So now we will see that. So if we write select department ID, comma mean of salary, okay, from employees, then group by department ID, right? And then we use having mean of salary is greater than select mean salary from employees, where department ID is equals to 50. So which means this query will first take the minimum salary from the employees table of department ID 50. After getting the output of this inner query, that value will again be compared by the or used by the outer query to give the desired output. How? If we consider the inner query, the minimum salary which we get of in department 50 from the employees table is 2100. And how the outer query gets interpreted? If we use the value returned from the inner query in the outer query, it will be like this. That means only those department IDs and the minimum salary against those department IDs will be retrieved from this query whose minimum salary is greater than 2100, which means the minimum salary will be executed from the inner query first, and the value that will be retrieved from the inner query will be used by the outer query, right, to give the desired output. So this is how we can also use having clause with subqueries, right? Okay. So whatever subquery is being taught till now, all are valid examples of single row subqueries. Okay. So in the next vlog, we will study more about multiple row subqueries. So learners, I hope that you have enjoyed this video about subquery. I have shown you few examples about what a subquery is, how to write it in a query, and what are the outputs of those queries. And I have tried to make you understand why such outputs are being given. Even I have taught you about single row subqueries, and in my next vlog I'm going to come up with more examples of multiple row subqueries and also some other aspects of subqueries. Till then, watch my full video and don't forget to like, share, subscribe my channel and comment if you have any kind of doubts. Definitely I will try to reply and solve your doubts. Till then, happy learning.